Hey everyone, I'm Jody Bader.
And I'm Sarah Martinez. We're Project Glad consultants and trainers from Washington State. Welcome to this short video tutorial on using a Project Glad strategy online. As you watch, feel free to reach out and connect with us or get some more tips from our website. You'll see the link below, nextstepsprojectglad.com. Enjoy.
Hey everybody. Today we're going to be talking about word card review and how we can do that online. I'm going to be using Google Slides for this that can then, once they're finished, can then be put into your Google Classroom. Now, one of the things that I want to mention is I hope you've gone through your video lessons for the word card review, because some of the items in there, some of the background and the how-to in there, I'm going to make the assumption that you know that information and that you've already seen those. So let's get into now the online adaptation. So here's what it's going to look like when your final copy is complete. The idea is that the students will be able to drag and drop just like they would be able to put their word cards and their picture cards up on the chart if you were doing it in person. Let's talk about how I created it. The first thing that you're going to need to do is have your pictorial already in the slide as a background. You see, I can't move that picture around. All I can move around is the word cards and the picture cards. I'll also mention here that you're not going to want to have this in present mode. When your students are manipulating the word in the picture cards, you're going to have it in regular create mode so that they can actually get to and drag and drop. Let's add a new slide. And now we will create our background. You can do this in Google Slides, but I'm also going to show you another little trick. I'm going to do it in PowerPoint first. So I've opened up a PowerPoint presentation and I have my pictorial that I'm going to drag and drop in here already created. I don't need any more design ideas. So I can resize it, remove it around, center it, and what have you. I would suggest that it's a smaller size, so that, in other words, it does not take up the entire slide, because you do need some room for your word and your picture cards to be placed over here. You're also going to need room somewhere in a margin for a video screen or a screencastify of yourself reviewing the lesson. That is one of the pieces that is super important about this. As we've talked about before, but it's worth mentioning again, Sarah and I are not going to recommend anything to you as an online adaptation just because it's techie, just because it's a way to use an app. It can't detract from the rationale or the levels of language development that are already embedded in this strategy. So you do need to have some way where you are presenting the lesson as a review. Your prompts have changed now from say it with me to read it with me, and the students need to be able to see you do that, at least your face talking about it. If not, actually standing next to the pictorial, doing the gestures, pointing, tracking with the words, underlining and prompting read it with me. So you're going to need some room on your screen to be able to do that. So I have my pictorial nicely centered with some room. I might move it over just a little bit more. I'm not quite sure how big my screencastify or my video inlay is going to be. Now I'm going up here to export. We're not going to save as, because we're changing the format. So I'm going to export it as a PNG. You can also do a JPEG if you like. I like the high quality PNGs. And I'm just going to put it on my desktop. Let's call this Kit Fox background. All right. I already had one there, but I'm showing you how to do it. So now we're going to have that on our desktop. Let's go ahead and click out of that. Now I'm back in my Google Slides. I'm going to click on the background button, choose an image. I can drag and drop, or I can upload something. And there it is. Now, here's why we did it in PowerPoint. It has to do with the clarity of the image. Look at the one that I did, that I imported or dragged and dropped from Google Slides. And here's the PowerPoint one. Sometimes, you know, the fuzziness doesn't bother me. For this particular activity, because I want the students to be able to read the words on the pictorial and to be able to match the word cards, it's really important to me that the clarity is what it needs to be. So I like doing that extra step of creating the background as a PNG in PowerPoint first, and then importing it into my slides. All right, now we can see we can't move that. Their kids are not going to be able to move that pictorial. We're going to create our picture cards are easier. We'll do that first. Just going to drag and drop them on there and resize them. And to make word cards, we're going to use text boxes. So I want to format it the way that I want it first, and then I can copy and paste. We talked about in the video lessons that the word cards are written with the same color ink that you have it on the chart. So I certainly could do that if I wanted to change my text color to brown. I also, however, and I kind of like doing this for the electronic version, instead of having the text be the color that it's on the chart, I kind of sometimes like to have the whole word card be that color. And then the text color can be either white or black, depending on what's going to show up the best. Let's do my other ones, some other words. We have the word enemies on the chart. The word on my card is predator. It is a synonym. I don't want a word-to-word correspondence. We talked about in the video lessons that there are 7 different types of word cards. So make sure that you're reflecting that in your slides as well as if you were doing this in person. All right, so now that I have my word cards created and I've taken care that they're not all word-to-word correspondence, I have a word family, adapt, which would go with adaptations. I have predator, which is a synonym of enemies. Another type of word card that we talked about is a word and sketch. Here's how to do that. Let's say that I want this image of a cactus, and I'm going to resize this, and I want it to go right next to my desert. I've selected both of those by holding the shift button down, and so now they're both selected. When I right click, now I have a group option on here. I'm grouping the images, so now when I click on them, they're going to move as a group. And the last thing you'll need to figure out is how are you going to engage with that word card review lesson with your students? Are you going to do it live, or will you pre-record it and then put that screencast on the slides or on the screen somewhere for your students? So that's the word card review. Go ahead and move forward with great language development and vocabulary development with your students. Thanks for watching.